Hello everyone, I'm Brian Croy Dragon, and welcome back to the Choice of the Petal Throne. Chapter 1, Youthful Folly. Jakala, Spring of 2355 AS. Your childhood in the great clan house of Sea Blue was pleasant. The household possessed plenty of slaves to do menial toil and an abundance of wealth. Your numerous mothers and fathers, your parents, siblings, and their spouses, lavished affection upon you. During the day, you were taught reading, writing, maths, and history at the temple school of Lord Hanala, and in the evening you slept in comfortable dormitories with your clan cousins, other children of the clan, most of them unrelated to you by any close blood tie. Many of the older adolescents, on the verge of adulthood, snuck between the boys' and girls' dormitories to warm each other's beds, and in the past year you had begun to join in this pastime. The night before your Katunjalam, or naming ceremony, found you sneaking into your clan cousin Rave's bed. Where were you coming from, and where were you heading to? I slept with other boys but was visiting Rave in the girls' dormitory. Of course, why would I choose anything else? The spring nights were chilly and damp, and though the dormitories were heated by small braziers, and many bodies sleeping within, the air in the corridor between the two buildings made you shiver as you tiptoed across. Once inside the girls' sleeping room, you found Rave's mat. She was still awake, waiting for you. Tiyuni, I was worried you were mad at me and not coming tonight, she whispered. You thought how strange it would be that after tomorrow no one would ever call you Tiyuni again. There was pride in the idea that you would finally have an adult's name and an adult's responsibilities. Earlier that day, you had found Rave gambling with some of the other girls in one of the courtyards. Her brown eyes sparkled under black bangs that bobbed as she laughed, scooping up her winnings. You knew that her mothers would not have approved of gambling, and worst of all, she had placed the small ceramic amulet of Taheli, the Maid of Beauty, the patron of young girls and first romance, as you had given her in the pot. After the dice had been thrown and she had run, Rave claimed she had only bet it because she had known it would bring her luck. But as Rave slipped the amulet back around her neck and gathered up her winnings, you had stormed off with tears in your eyes. The Rave was beautiful and clever, she could also be spoiled. Sure that her winning personality could get her out of any situation. Now she was looking up at you with a vulnerable worry, different from the brash assurance earlier in the day. I cannot stay angry with you. Rave smiled invitingly and pulled back the sheet to welcome you under. I knew you would understand. Her smile was like the sun coming out from behind the clouds. A joyous grin that made your heart speed faster and promised an evening of sweet delight. The birds were chirping in the pre-dawn darkness before you fell asleep. That night, the next thing you knew, cold water was startling you out of sleep. Sputtering, you looked up, until the face of your elder brother Guyan, smiling down at you. Sleep well, little brother? Or did you not sleep at all? Here he leered at Rave, and waggled his eyebrows. Guyan fancied himself a comedian. Will I have to come to break you two apart? Muller Hale is in a state of distraction over the fit of your formal dress, and has told me that if I did not bring you back immediately, she would lead me to a zerne. Here he looks again at Rave. And your parents wish your company as well. Without waiting for a response, Guyan grabbed you up by the arm and dragged you from the barracks. You were barely through the door before Mama Hale was fastening a June Chilean hide collar over your shoulders and arranging a coat around your waist. As she ironed and adjusted its drape, she barraged you with unsolicited advice about the upcoming ceremony. "Looney, you must keep your posture during the parade and during the feast. The headdress will be heavy and you must look regal. And afterward, do not drink too heavily or overindulge in the powders. There will be 10 of you getting your names today, and half of Jacala has turned out to sea. And you must be no shunning youth present." On and on she chattered. Ma Hale was your birth mother's sister, a plump woman with an easy smile who had raised you since you were an infant. Your elder mother, Sayi, had declared herself Eridani at her own naming ceremony, and so taken on rights and responsibilities normally reserved for men. She had joined a legion and marched to war while her sister elected to remain a good clan girl, and accept the more traditional role for women. Hale was a ward of the clan, could not own property, and could not be sued or challenged to a duel. But she was still a formidable personality, actively involved in the work and social life of Clan Sea Blue. And now all of her was bent on getting you through the day without a misstep that might provide fodder for gossips and lower your family's prestige within the clan house. How do you feel about this celebration? I was excited to be an adult, but just wanted to survive the day without disgracing myself. It was funny now, as a veteran of battles, to look back on the youthful importance you attached to your Katunjalam, but at the time, the idea of stuttering, or worse yet, tripping under the weight of the formal wear, was mortifying. The morning passed in a nervous blur. At one point you saw Rave, herded along a corridor by all 8 of her parents. But there was not time to speak. Finally, you found yourself joining the other 9 soon-to-be adults for the procession through the city. The city of Jacala lies on the delta of the Equinorial River, facing out over tidal flats in the Bay of Jacala. Jacalans consider the goddess Delamlesh, their city patron, and see their town as the most cultured in Solianu. Thus, as Sea Blues parade round through the city's street, it attracted an entourage of curiosity seekers, revelers, and entertainers. By the time you returned to your clan house, the parade had swelled to become a mob. Your clan elders had anticipated this, and while the most exalted of noble families would celebrate and dine with you inside, a vast feast with associated entertainments was set up in the courtyard. Monstrous Sayi beasts roared over fire pits, drops of their juices crackling as they hit the flames, and filling the air with savory smells. Bread was handed out, and wine flowed freely. It is by such largesse that the lower clans are kept peaceable and in awe of mighty Sea Blue. The noble guests filed through a vast room with frescoes upon the plastered walls, and an intricate mosaic upon the floor, up a grand marble staircase, and onto a terraced rooftop garden. Here the spring breezes could flow freely, but the walls and roofs of the surrounding buildings blocked prying eyes. The guests arranged themselves on a series of raised daises, and their peaked pavilions, according to rank, while the 10 of you stood beneath a bower. There you waited down. Let's try that again. There you waited, still and proud, on display as what seemed like every notable in Jakala filed in. When all were seated, a hush descended. A grey-haired man dressed in finery of the 19th form of dress stood, bowed to priests waiting beside the bower, and began to speak. He orated upon the ancient roots of Clan Sea Blue, in the days of the Bednausian Empire, on the histories of the lineages, and of each young man or woman standing before him, on the virtues of duty to the clan, of honor and dignity. Finally, when you felt your knees must buckle from supporting the massive weight of your jeweled and filled headdress, he approached the first youth. In turn, each new name was read from a scroll, and a sacrifice was passed from a waiting slave to the youth, and from them to a priest of their faith. When the elder came to stand before you, what name did he read out? I'll just go with Achin. An excellent and noble name. And what offering did you present? I think I'll just go with the diamond. As the priest accepted the diamond, your elder read out, the ancient and exalted clan of Sea Blue is proud to welcome its newest member, Achan Haimawadla Otalengba. At his joyous shout, the crowd replied in a chorus, Oten Lengba, all hail! The ritual of naming was repeated for the next clan cousins, and then the elder stood before Rave, who presented the priest of Lord Hanala with a necklace of milky white moonstones. The elder then read from the scroll. The ancient and exalted clan of Sea Blue is proud to welcome its newest member, Sayi Haitan Kolal Utenlengba. Once more the crowd shouted approval. Soon the ceremony ended, and attention drifted away from the newly named adults and onto more important things like fashion, gossip, trade deals, and news of the war with the country of Yankor. Mama Dazai came forward and gave you a tight hug, as did her husband Vasan and Payur, but she had just arrived that morning, after over 2 years away, and it was not long until social obligation dragged them all off. You found yourself left to your own devices. Various rooms in the clan house were set aside for puppet shows, poetry readings, and a display by dancers. How did you occupy yourself? Damn seasonal allergies. I looked for Sayi. She was looking for you as well, and you both made a fine display as you explored the party. Sayi was clearly enjoying acting the part of the sophisticated adult, an effect that was only ruined by occasional grins and laughter. Now that you young lovers were reunited, where did you venture? Went to see the dancers. In a tiled courtyard, young men and women adorned in transparent green, very little of it, danced to the music of drums and stringed in tenturin. Dance to the music of drums and a stringed tenturin. The silver bells upon their ankles created their own tune as they swayed and stamped in unison. There were many stories in Jakala of nobles who have risked their wealth, social standing, and even lives for the favour of a skilled dancer, and those hired by Clan Sea Blue are very skilled indeed. The dancers continued their display, at times languorous, at others frantic. It was all intensely erotic. It made you very aware of Sayi sitting next to you, resplendent in all her finery. Sayi must have been thinking the same thoughts. The looks between you two became more smouldering, and by mutual consent you left the party to return to the dormitory, where you had a great deal of fun discovering how to remove formal dress of the traditional 19th form. As the spring following your naming date progressed, you found yourself in a strange position. With the rights and respect of an adult, with a few responsibilities to occupy your time, all knew that Sayi intended to purchase you a military commission. It would immediately carry you away to Yan Koryani. The Yan Koryani front. And so there seemed little point in involving you in Clan's business. How did you spend your days? A good strategy is for more than good swordsmanship. It was while you reclined in the shade of the courtyard, immersed in a scroll on the proper rate of poured water under enemy fire, that Sayi ran to you, face tear-streaked and eyes red. "Oh, Tayuni, I am in such trouble. I have lost a small fortune at the House of Shining Joy. Martin hosts an exclusive room there, beautiful and provided with gold washed window screens and ivory inlaid tables, and everyone was so pleasant." Her words ran over each other as she spoke with a mixture of panic and wistful memory. "A golden lintel banker let me take out a line of credit. At first she was so understanding of my one of bad luck, but she became rather cold and impertinent, and said she would be appealing to my clan for payment of my debts. What should I do?" "We just need to solve this problem before they find out." When Sayi turned her luminous eyes upon you at this pronouncement, you felt as tall as a Nullas, and as brave as a Pendarte of Curis. Instantly reassured by the advent of a plan, she told you where to find the Golden Lentown clanswoman. Evening's cool shadows contrasted the day's heat, still radiating off the brick streets as you walked to the House of Shining Joy. The building was a shabby wine house in poor repair, but gilded over with opulent touches. Stepping into the vestibule, you found a pleasantly gurgling fountain where patterned fish cavorted among coins. In one corner, a kish-shell bird perched in a golden painted cage, its magnificent multicolored tail feathers hanging to the floor. I had the Golden Lintel Clan's woman summoned to me. An observant servant moved forward to bid you welcome to the establishment, and upon hearing your request, disappeared into one of the many private rooms of the wine house. After a moment, he returned to escort you into a small chamber where you were seated upon a flatteringly high stack of cushions, with a cup of wine at your right hand. A wrinkled woman, in the dreary garb of a medium clan, looked up with an ingratiating smile. Honourable youth, how may I be of service to you? You can erase the debt of my cousin. Now. With brusque formality and using the pronoun which signifies discriminating contempt for your listener, you demanded an apology for her role in preying upon a high clan youth, intimating dire consequences if events were not made right. The money lender seemed unimpressed by the show of bravado. Do you know how many times a week young people like you, with neither decorum nor sense nor caitars to pay their debts, come here, expecting to be able to threaten their way out of their messes? Too many, I assure you, and yet every time it is me their clans and the law side with, and they who ultimately pay the price for such folly. The elderly lady clapped, and a scarred, rotund gladiator entered the room. I'd see how smug she was with a sword at her throat. In a smooth movement, you stood and drew the Chilen-hide sword given to you by the Sayi as a naming day present. As you lunged forward, the gladiator sprang up to interpose his bulk, bowing the floorboard when he landed. In that moment of landing, he was off balance, and you kicked him in his ample stomach, forcing out his breath. Before he could recover, you had grabbed the old woman and positioned her between you two, with your sword pressed against her. Please, I submit to your will. I should never have given offense, but the debt has been registered with my clan, and I cannot erase it in its entirety. I can, however, use my influence to have it reduced to half the amount based on a more favourable rate. Surely such a respected clan as Sea Blue would cover such a sum with little thought. The offer was a tempting one, and if you had not promised Sayi to protect her reputation, perhaps you would have taken it. Instead, you made a dismissive gesture. Do not think to dicker with me over math, as if I were some common peddler. To pay even the smallest fraction of this debt would besmirch the good name of my beloved clan cousin. Closing her eyes tightly in mumbled prayer, your hostage took a steadying breath. It is not I who took her coins, it is the honour of that matter that concerns you. Then your argument is with Mortan. It is known to all the gamblers of Takala that he is a cheat, reduced to preying upon novices with weighted dice and narcotic-laced wine. I know the names of some he has cheated, and who would testify against him. None with a social ring to bring a case on their own, but respectable enough to corroborate charges if you make them. I shall help you if you spare me. There would be little shame to Sayi in being the victim of a crime such as this, and the money won in court could easily cover her debt to the good intent. Were you satisfied? Yes, it was beneath me to hold a grudge against such a functionary. The old woman sat down upon her flat cushion, waving her guard back to somnolent repose, and chewing on a haneku leaf to calm her nerves. In a low voice she related the names and clans of various temple students, low-level functionaries, and such swindled by Martin, and promised to persuade her clan to cease pursuit of the debt down after the court case. The suit against Martin was quickly taken out of your hands and put into those of the clan lawyers. Word came of a settlement one twilight as you sat reading in the gardens. Cousin, called the apprentice law scribe. Martin's clan settled on paying Shamtla to us. I think they saw the scavengers circling at the scent of blood, and wished to end the entire affair before they became mired in countless suits. A good thing, too. If we had gone to the civil court, it would have been who knows how many years in filings and questionings before the judges were satisfied. He grinned. I came to you first because I thought you might wish to carry the news to Sayi yourself and get a hero's due reward. I went to ease Sayi's worries with glad tidings. With a shriek of joy, she leapt across her parents' room to entangle you in a fierce hug. Words of gratitude and promises of redemption were showered upon you until, with a polite firmness, her parents requested some time alone to digest the information. Their looks cast your way were full of admiring gratitude, but a steely coldness was directed towards Sayi. As you retreated down the halls of the living quarters, 8 voices rose together in disapproval and sent her to crash down upon Sayi, legally an adult but still her parents' child. And that's all for today, everyone. I'm Brian Croy Dragon, signing out. Stay shrey!